These placemats might be a little wild, but they are going to a good cause. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and it's my weekly vlog number 114, May the 6th, 2019. And I hope you've had a good weekend, and I hope you've got a great week ahead of you. And so let's get into things and talk about what I've been doing. Well, you saw in the little teaser I made some placemats. These are for charity, and these are what these look for. Now, the way this got started was I belong to a quilting guild, as you know. And in June we have our annual meeting, and it's a potluck where everybody brings something. And they suggested that we bring a placemat that we have made, a quilted placemat, use that during our dinner, and then donate it to community services for Meals on Wheels. And now we made placemats at Christmas time for Meals on Wheels, so everybody would get a placemat when their Christmas dinner was delivered, just to, you know, liven things up for people who are shut in. And so they said you could bring one to this dinner we're having in June, or as many as you want. So I made a set of 4. It's actually a pattern that you use 4 quarters with, and the way you cut it and the way you lay them out, you get 4 different placemats. And you can see that I embroidered them as well, and it might not be showing up so well on the camera, but here's the back side of what these look like. I embroidered some butterflies on them because, you know, I like butterflies as embellishments. And I did each one in different colors because although the fabric is the same on the front side of these, the way that it's laid out, the way you kind of mix up the pieces, gives each placemat sort of a unique look. So come June, I will be taking these to the guild, and these will be donated to Meals on Wheels. So, which reminds me, I probably should make some more placemats for myself, because I have a couple that I use on a regular basis, but those were early in my career as a quilter, and now I think I've got a little better, and I think I can make something a little bit nicer than I had made at that point in time. So that's an upcoming project. Got a lot of sewing projects coming up. There's something called a row by row block that is done by local and not so local quilting stores. The idea is you go around, and each store has designed this block with a specific type of fabric. I think it's Northcott fabric. Well, I know it's their line, and which is a beautiful line. I love it. I've got a lot of it. And you get these little kits for about $5, and they have some instructions in them, and they have the material that you need for it already pre-cut pretty much, and you just put the block together. And if you get about 12 of these blocks, which means 12 different stores over the next few months, you have enough blocks to make a quilt. Now, I don't know if I will manage to get to all these other stores to pick these up, but I'll be on the lookout for them. And in July we are going to an area where there's several quilting stores about 2 hours away from us, so I'll be sure to pop into those stores and pick up their row by rows as well, if they have any left. I think sometimes there's a limited quantity, but we'll see. Now, I did do an Idiot Quilter episode about my trials and tribulations with doing this very simple little project, and it should have been very simple, but a couple of things got in my way. Well, one of them was making what's called mitered corners. Never done that before, was a little afraid, but I did figure it out. Unfortunately, I did not figure it out from the instructions that came with this row by row, because those instructions, quite frankly, were terribly written. But I do discuss that in the Idiot's Quilter, and I have a new setup for Idiot's Quilter as well. So if you want to check that out, I've put that link in the show notes below, and I believe that is, Idiot Quilter episode 41, OMG Mitered Corners. Okay, so what else have I been, well, these are not things I made, but I did go to a crop this past weekend. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. And of course, many of my ladies that are in my art journaling group were there, and they decided that they were going to do their monthly ATC cards, and of course I always get a few of them. Not everybody in the class was at the crop, but here are some of their cards. This is Gina's. Get the glare off it. Steampunkish sort of effect, which I love. This is Joanne's. Really cute. Find your tribe. I forget what the theme was for this month. This is also Joanne's. Did she make two? Oh, one was from last month when I wasn't at the class. That goes that way, which is lovely. And this is Anne's. Again, they're all lovely, and they make a lovely display, as I've said before, in my craft room. I'm actually running out of some space. I may have to figure out some more space to post these all. When I was at the crop as well, I did do a make and take and made this cute little card. It's featuring these things called tins or something, or pins, tins, I don't know what, but kind of cute. You know me, I'm not big on card making, but this was kind of fun. Okay, so we'll talk more about the crop a little bit later on, but now it's time for the YouTube channel of the week. And if you happen to be interested in embroidering, machine embroidery especially, or if you've been thinking about getting into it, this is the YouTube channel for you. This week's YouTube channel of the week is called OML Embroidery. This is where you can learn everything you want to know about machine embroidery, and I think she may occasionally throw in some hand embroidery tips as well. Mainly the focus is on machine embroidery, however. She does show you different designs. She talks about different places where you can get designs. She talks about equipment. She talks about embroidery threads. Her latest video actually was very interesting because she talked about sewing supplies that you get from Wish, which is an online cheap shopping area. So if you're interested in embroidery and in sewing, check out OML Embroidery. Okay, so the link for that YouTube channel of the week is below, as is the latest version of Stephen and Walter Live. Now, just a note about Stephen and Walter Live this week. We ran into a freeze-up problem. Go figure. We're not sure why. We've been watching a few other YouTubes as well that are ones that we regularly check out, and when they do live, some of them are having some freeze-up problems as well. But for some reason, their freeze-up problems seem to be very temporary. Things come back. Yesterday, I just have had it with the freeze-ups when they happen. So I actually stopped the live and went back in, and so you're going to find there are two parts to the live. Part 1, Part 2. And that's the reason why, because of the freeze-up. We don't know what it is. We don't know. This is the problem we've had before. Things were running along for several weeks now really well, no freeze-ups, and then bang. Now we did get a new toy, which I'm going to talk about later, which I'm actually using right now. We don't know if that had any effect on why we had the freeze-up. We don't know if it has to do with, again, our internet provider. Something dropped out. We have that new modem, which you heard all about last week, how we went through hell to get it. We just don't know. There are times when I just want to give up giving a YouTube live and do a podcast. At least the sound is still there. So please bear with us. We're so sorry about it. I've tried to make the two parts of the video kind of fit together, so you'll find a link near the end of the first part, which is relatively short, where you can click on that and it'll take you to the second part. Sorry. I just don't know what the problem is. A few people have given me some suggestions. Nothing seems to work. I suspect it's a combination of YouTube and my provider. And those two things are out of my hands. Okay. You shouldn't have a freeze up on this though, since I'm pre-recording that. Alright, so those links are down below. Also, the books this week are listed down below. And there's the Idiot Quilter episode 40, which I already, episode 41, which I already mentioned, but I also made an episode 40, which is about my first free motion quilted quilt, where I show you my successes and a lot of my failures on that as well. Now, one of the failures in that too is the quality of the video. I was playing around with my settings. I was trying to get things right. Excuse me. My camera fell off its tripod. Yeah. And now I'm coughing up a storm. Yeah, you're going to find that annoying. Oh, I've got to clear my throat. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I think I'm better now. You know, I swallowed air or something. You know how that happens. Anyways, what was I saying? Yes. So the Idiot Quilter episode 40, I was again experimenting with positions for my camera, and there are some fun moments when suddenly it falls over and things like that. And sound quality isn't the best. I am aware that the Idiot Quilter ones are not the best quality. I am working on that. My problem is I'm doing them in my sewing room. I'm not doing them here in my craft room. In my craft room, I have it all set up ready to go for this kind of thing. In there, it's not quite the same. And I want to do the Idiot Quilter ones from my sewing room, because then I can use my sewing machine and other things that go along with it. I will get it better, I promise you. Just bear with me if you're a regular viewer of Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes us to what's pissing me off this week. Well, assembly instructions that are supposedly idiot proof. Okay, we've gotten several new toys over the last 2 weeks. You heard about our dilemmas with the modem setup and the whole bit. Walter went out and bought a new television. He bought an OLED, which is the latest technology pretty much. It's a 4K television, although you can't watch anything in 4K because nobody broadcasts in it. Although you can, well, I think that's not true. I think you can subscribe to a service for 4K, but there's not a lot of programming on it. You can do 4K on YouTube as well, and those are more demo kind of things, nature shots and stuff like that. The kind of thing when you walk into a store that sells TVs, they always have running to, because it's impressive on their screens. It looks so good. Anyways, he's wanted a new one for a while for our family room kitchen, and we had a smaller one in there, and size counts. And he also wanted a new receiver for it because it's all hooked into our stereo system, our sound system. And the new receiver he bought also hooks into our Alexa as well. So ideally, we should be able to walk in the room, tell Alexa what we want to watch or what we want to hear, and Alexa will do it. Yeah, it should do that ideally. But all part of the assembly instructions that are idiot-proof. Okay, I don't know what the idiot is they're thinking of. An idiot with an IQ of over 140 would probably be about the best kind of idiot to deal with their instructions. Their problem is they don't want to write instructions. They want to use diagrams, visuals. The IKEA kind of thing. You open up the box, show some guy putting his hands in, there's arrows everywhere about stuff. Well, that's what all of this equipment comes with now too. They do not come with full manuals anymore because you can go online and get the manuals for these kind of things. And I have to admit, I don't like reading manuals. Who does? A manual is, I look at it on a need-to-know basis or troubleshoot. But to read them from cover to cover, probably should, but who does? Really? Especially, I think the TV set came with or maybe it was the new receiver, one or the other, came with or you could download a 300-page instruction manual. Can you say overkill? So you go through these things, and they talk about how simple to do it. It's not simple. It never works the way those instructions tell you it should work. Walter spent 2 days trying to get all the equipment with this new TV set and receiver and Alexa up and running. And he did, finally. Yes, there was cursing and swearing, but he finally got it all up and it's running and it's great. However, it shouldn't have taken that long to put together. Now, he's not an idiot when it comes to electronics, okay? Far from it. And yet, they've made these things so complicated that you almost need a PhD in technical sciences or something to put them together, to get them up and up operating. And that is very frustrating. And there is absolutely no reason, I think, that these manufacturers can't put together step-by-step instructions that are clear. We used to teach instruction writing when I was a teacher in English class, because actually it is an art to write clear instructions. The whole problem with these companies is that everything is manufactured outside of North America, and they're usually manufactured by companies that English is not their chief language. So they're basically, when they do write instructions, it'll be in semi-broken English, or they've used the wrong words, because I'm sure they've written it in their own language, and then they've had someone sort of translate it into English. And of course, you know, getting a good translator for that kind of thing is expensive and not easy. I mean, that's a real talent and skill to do. So as a consumer, they've got your money and they've left you high and dry. Oh yes, they have support lines. Usually they are an FAQ on their website that says, if this is not working, try this. And again, you're running into the same problem with badly written instructions. So you're nothing ahead. It just makes you extremely frustrated. The other problem is, all of these new toys come with all kinds of buzzers and bells and whistles. 3/4 of the stuff you never use. It sounds cool, and it allows them to put the price up higher because you have all these extra features. But in reality, you probably only use 1 or 2 out of 10 different settings. So what pisses me off about all of this is it's all part and parcel of customer service, isn't it? Which I talked about last week. Instruction manuals, instruction sheets, putting something together, getting it up and running is all part of customer service. And I don't care how much money you spend. And actually, it seems sometimes the more money you spend on an item like this, especially a tech item, the more complicated they become, the more complicated the instructions become, and the less clear they are. So, you know, you've paid the big bucks. Does it not behoove I love that word, behoove. Doesn't it behoove the company to provide you with clear instructions? And I don't think people proofread at the company. I'm sure they don't proofread their instructions. I am sure they don't even look at them. They just shove them in the box and away you go. So that's what I'm pissed off at this week, because it's very frustrating. You want to get something up and running and going so you can play with it, and you spend all this time trying to get it up and running. And I often wonder what people who have less technical knowledge than Walter and I, and when I say Walter and I, Walter has a lot more than I do, but I'm the kind of person, I'm willing to experiment, but some people aren't. They just want it out of the box, on the shelf, bang, instant work. I mean, my mother would never figure any of this stuff out, that's for sure. And I think about older people too, who maybe, you know, slightly older than me. When I say older people, I mean a lot older than me. Okay, people in their 70s, their 80s, where this new technology, which seems to come out every day, there's something new every day, it must be very frustrating for them. Now, not all of them. I hope when I get to that age, I'm still with it enough and willing enough to try and figure things out. But you never know. And I just pity these poor people having to struggle with this. It's bad enough for us. What is it for them? Anyways, that's what I'm pissed off about. Like, instructions. Make them clearer. Okay, moving on. Product reviews and what's new. Well, I said I'm using what's new right now, and that's my Yeti microphone. What I've been using when I do Stephen Walter Live and this vlog is a plug-in microphone. There's the cough again, sorry. That I usually wear down here. You don't really see it sometimes, so I wear it low enough it's not in the shot. But it's just a tiny little thing. It cost me $20 off of Amazon, and it does a good job. So why did I get a Yeti? Well, first of all, I wanted something that had a little richer sound to it. And second of all, it was an impulse buy. I've seen them in videos. People who do, very elaborate YouTube channels and people who do podcasts use this kind of microphone. Now, I'm going to hold it up, and it might make a noise when I do, so I just want you to see it. There it is. That's my Yeti. I'm still playing with it. Sorry if that made some noise. To get it right, if you watch Stephen and Walter live, you'll notice that's our first time actually using the microphone. And we had a little problem at the beginning, but we got it sorted out. These are not cheap microphones. It was about $170 on Amazon, Canadian, before taxes. It was on Prime, so I got free shipping. So I have this microphone now. It took some time to figure out how I could use it with a iPad, which is what I'm using right now, because it has a USB connection. It's meant to be plugged into a USB port on a computer. But I did find an adapter and able to get that to work. I have noticed that it draws a lot of power from my iPad while I'm using it, so I just have to keep an eye on my battery level. But for the most part, it's a very good microphone. So I'm hoping today, this video, the sound in it is clear. Is it better than the microphone I was using before? I hate to say it, but I don't think it is. So I just dropped $170, almost $200 with tax, for a new microphone that in reality maybe I didn't really need. But I have it now. I'm going to use it. So that was one of the new toys. I also got a new iron. Isn't that exciting? A new iron. This is a travel iron, but it's meant for when I go on sewing retreats or classes, because it's nice and compact. The handle holds the water, it steams, and there's a lot of really great reviews about this particular iron. Now, I have another travel iron, it's slightly different than this and a little bit smaller, that I really like. It works really well. But the problem with that is, the way the handle is situated on that, your knuckles are actually going down and touching the body of the iron, and it gets hot and it will burn your knuckles. So I got this one, and I've tried it out already, and I really like the way it works. It's got a nice point here on the end for getting into, the seam allowances and things like that. And it wasn't that expensive. I think it was $40 on Amazon. So good reviews on it. So that's what I got. Another new toy. And what else? I bought some new iCraft kits. Actually, iCraft kits are the kits that I've been using in my series on what I've been making, that I've been doing lately on here. So when I went through all the iCraft kits I had. I looked online at Class Act, which is my local scrapbooking store, to check out which ones I didn't have. And there were several, so I went into the store and I bought the rest of them. My goal is I'm going to go through all of them over this next, it'll probably be a year, and do my segments on making these things. I have a couple of reasons for doing that. One, I think you might be interested in this kind of thing. And two, is putting me back sort of into my roots in crafting. Yes, I quilt a lot. I love quilting. But I don't want to give up like journal making and things like that, because I enjoy doing it. So this kind of allows me to do this in a more organized way, to share it with you in a more organized way, and just keep my hand in what I started out in. So you will be seeing those new kits as time goes on. What else is new? Well, I talked about the new TV, but there's going to be some changes to my sewing room. Everything has a ripple effect. We bought the new TV. So the old TV is now my new second monitor to my computer system. I have a second monitor, and I've had a second monitor for a while, but it's a little bit smaller. This sucker is a little large, okay? But Walter has one upstairs in his office that he uses as his secondary monitor too, and it's huge. It'll just take me a little time to get used to it. I can tell you though, there's no problem seeing it or anything on it, because it's quite large. So the one that I was using as a secondary monitor, it also is a television set, basically. It's going in my sewing room. And we've got the stuff right now so we can mount it on the wall, and it will now be right across from my sewing machine. So when I'm sewing, I'll be able to watch YouTube videos as well. Right now I can on my computer I have out there, but it's sort of behind me. And I can't see it as clearly. So this way, if I need to look up something, I can work right along with somebody on a YouTube, and I'll be able to see it while I'm at my sewing machine. So yeah, kind of excited about having that in there. But we have to set it up yet. We got a bracket for it the other day, but Walter says we need a piece of wood or something that we can mount it on to the wall, and so we'll probably go out and get that later today and get that all set up. And when I say get that all set up, when I say we, I mean Walter. Okay, and then this crop I went to on the weekend, which I still haven't told you much about it, but I will in a minute or two. I won a prize, a raffle prize. I won this. This is the Spellbinders Platinum die cutting and embossing machine. Okay, and do I need another one? Probably not. I have a Big Shot. I have a Vagabond, but my Big Shot and Vagabond are both kind of old, and as time goes by on die cutting machines, the pressure, the cutting rollers or whatever that are in it, tend to get a little looser. You don't tend to get as nice and as clean a cut. I've noticed that with my Vagabond. The Big Shot I haven't used that much, so it's still in pretty good shape. So I'm going to try this out, but what I want this for is to cut applique, cut fabric. Now I experimented with my Big Shot some time ago and with the existing dies I have, and it will do it. But I'm wondering if this one will give me a little cleaner cut. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm actually going to talk a little bit more about this from a different point of view when I come to discussing the crop I went to this weekend. But anyways, I never win anything, so I was kind of excited to win this. Okay, so book reviews. These are very specialized books for a very specialized type of technique. It's called iris folding. What iris folding is, and if you see these ones, is basically taking little thin strips of paper, folding them in half, and laying them and gluing them down to a pattern so that they overlap and they create all kinds of different shapes. I have 3 of these books. There's another one, shows you some examples of what you can do. These are really great for card making. They make beautiful card fronts. They do take some time. They are a little fiddly. It's sort of like doing Chinese paper folding, origami, or is that Japanese? Whichever. I think it's Japanese. Like origami in a sense, except these are just straight pieces of paper folded in half, and they make the shape. It's, as I said, it's called iris folding. And these little books give you the shapes, which you basically can photocopy on your printer and print out, and then you just lay them down. In a sense, if you know anything about sewing, it's like paper piecing, okay, in a way, with only that you are actually using paper instead of fabric. So you have these patterns. They tell you what you need. There are special papers you can get for iris paper folding. They're kind of lightweight papers. They usually have a bit of a shimmer to them, kind of a thing. But you don't need those. You can use whatever you've got laying around. So it's fun. It's different. It's a fine technique. What I mean by that is, this is for people who want to who have patience for one thing and like to explore the world of paper crafts. So if you already do origami, this will be a breeze. If you've never done origami before, you can still do this. It's still very simple, but you do have to be patient with it. And these books are excellent for this. However, there's a little problem here. All right, like I tell you, I'm pulling these out of my stash. I've had some things for years. I haven't done iris folding in years. I got all into it one time, and then I just got out of it again, which is not unusual for me. So I went looking these up, and these are a series. So I went to, I'm looking here, I went to Amazon, and I could only find these books in the used book section, not brand new. So that suggests to me that there's a possibility that these are out of print. Not sure. In fact, is there a copyright in them? They're published by something called Forte Publishers. That's how I'm saying it, Forte. And they were published in 2003. So yeah, it's a bit of some time ago. And it looks to me, yes, they were published in the Netherlands. That might be another reason why we can't get it, or as easily. But you can get them unused. Now, the prices are just weird. They're from the cheapest to the highest. You can get the Iris folding with greetings, it says. Which one's that? That's this one for 27 cents. I have no idea what they charge you for shipping. You can get the Iris folding Christmas, must be more rare, for $24.49. Again, have no idea about shipping. And then this one, Iris folding with Iris folding paper, I couldn't find it at all. Not on Amazon. It may be out there somewhere else, but I couldn't find it anywhere else. Now, these are not the only books about Iris folding that you can get. And if you're interested in it, what I suggest you do, first of all, if you've never done it before, go to YouTube, put in Iris folding. Iris is like the flower, I-R-I-S. And you'll find lots of videos about Iris folding. And then from there, you can make a decision whether or not this is something you might want to try. And I am sure there are probably links to books or kits or things like that within those videos as well. So I just checked on Amazon.ca. Okay, that doesn't mean that's the only source out there for these kind of books. If you're interested in doing this, maybe I should do one myself again, and just to show you what it looks like. Maybe I'll think about that. Actually, I think I've got some origami paper. Origami paper works really well with this, and origami paper, you can get that sometimes really quite inexpensive. So yeah, we'll see. I just had this thought right now. Yeah, but like other thoughts, it may go in my head and come out the other side. Okay, so that's the books. So next segment that I'm going to get into is finishing up that photo folio scrapbook from iCraft that I've been making. In this next and last segment, I'm doing my final embellishing of it. But I want to give you a little teaser here. I am going to do a video showing you these in detail, but at the crop on the weekend, I did another Iris Iris, rented lips. Coffee. Yes, we better have coffee. Okay, better. Another iCraft kit. And this one was called the 6x6 Essential Album. And there are two in a package. So I got two different albums of it. So this one I did, and I used my graphic 45 paper. And I also used, and you'll see this when I do a little bit more detailed video, which you'll see next week. I used their paper as well, their iCraft paper. In fact, because I bought 6 kits recently, they were running a promotion. They gave me a free pad of paper valued at $30 of this company's paper. And then the second album, which came from the same kit, so really good value for your money. I think one of these kits is $10.99, and you get 2 of these out of it. That's pretty good. Now, of course, it doesn't come with all the background papers. It's just the basic building blocks for it. But you do get 2. And they have improved their kits a little bit, because this one had chipboard, which is in the covers on either side, which makes this much more substantial than that Memories scrapbook album that I did from the same company in the first part of this series that I'm doing. And this one I did I used mostly Tim Holtz papers and embellishments on it. So as I said, I am going to do a more detailed video flipping through these albums, and that will be probably on my vlog next week. So now it's time for the last segment in the photo folio scrapbook. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're going to finish up our photo folio scrapbook by adding a few little embellishments. Now I've already sort of picked out a few embellishments that I want to use, and these come from various sets. Some are from Tim Holtz, some are from other sources. And I've already done something before I started the video, because this I had to figure out. I needed a closure for this booklet, or for this folio. So what I have right here, this is a Tim Holtz little buckle. Now it doesn't come with anything else but the buckle, so I'm just thinking, well, I'd like a strap or something to go around this. Well, in my stash I found some measuring tapes, you know, the kind of thing dressmakers use, that kind of thing. A package of 3. They were in different sizes that I bought for probably $1. And they've been sitting in my stash for a long time, looking for something to do with them. And so I thought this would make a nice enclosure for the belt. So I measured out the length that I needed. This took a little thinking, a little planning. Got it attached to the buckle, and all you do is you just slip this. Yeah, all you do is just, okay, I'm all thumbs this morning. Let's see here. Just put the end through, and I punched a hole in the tape measure, so I had a latch, and then it goes through this little hoop at the top. Now this is a little bit fiddly, but I think it adds a nice feature to it. Now you might say, well, shouldn't your strap hang down? Yeah, maybe, but it looks like a belt if you put it this way too. So I couldn't, the only way I could have got this part to hang down here, well, I suppose I could do that, but then it covers the buckle, was to place the buckle this way on this little thing. I simply wrapped it around. I did glue it. I used some of my Gorilla Glue, best glue on the market, and adhered it. So now I've got the little enclosure. Now I have had this sitting for a few days with rubber bands all around to keep everything so it gets the idea of the way it's supposed to sit. The sides still pop out a little bit on one side. That may, over time, adjust itself. Okay, so I've put this embellishment on. Oh, this was a white, so I just took some of my Stays On ink and just aged it a little bit. So I'm kind of happy with that. So let's open up and look inside and see what we can do. Okay, now last time I told you I thought I might want to cover up these spaces here with maybe some washi tape, so I've pulled out some washi tape, and I picked out some stuff that has numbers on it, and I'm just trying to see if this one's a little thick. Okay, so we're going to go for the narrow. So this one too has numbers on it. I'm just going to see how it sticks to this at first, because I don't know if I'm going to have to add a little bit of glue, because some washi tapes are stickier than other washi tapes. We'll varnish that well. Where's my bone folder? I'll use the bone folder on this. Give it a good varnish, especially on the edges. Okay, that seems to be sticking pretty good. So I think I'm just going to put another piece of this over on this side. And this just sort of covers up those blank areas where the folds are located. Now I could just tear this, or I could use, but I'm using my scissors. I want a little bit neater ends on this. Okay, that makes a bit of a difference. Now let's see, should I use the same stuff here? And I think I will. Hope I'm in shot. And a little bit more over here on this fold. I'm not actually putting it on the folds themselves because I think that'll make it curl up. I'm just putting it off a little bit from the edge. And I'm thinking I need something here. Maybe the wider tape would be okay here. Yeah, I think the wider tape would work here okay. So now I could have aged these tapes, but I like the color as they are, so I'm just going to let them stay. Now this one looks like it's one of those tapes, one of those washi tapes that I said doesn't have much sticky on it. So I'm going to fix that. I'm just going to give it a little bit of dab of my Gorilla Glue. And again, you could use any glue that you like. I'm just in love with Gorilla Glue these days for this kind of stuff because it dries so fast. Okay, I don't want too much of that to squeeze out from underneath because I don't want this just tape down something else. One thing that's nice about, I think I'm just going to cut off a chunk of this. It's a little awkward with the roll. One thing that's nice about washi tape is it is repositionable. That's both a strength and a disadvantage because since it's repositionable, it doesn't stick that well, and then that's a problem. Now this piece seems to be sticking a little better in this area. Okay, so I've gone around those edges. Any others that I need to do? I don't think so. Everything's good on those sides, but I do know on the back I need to put some here and here. Now I think the skinnier, and I maybe use the darker one. I've got this black roll. It's got numbers on it too. It looks like chalkboard numbers. Just going to straighten that edge. I don't use washi tape that often. I have lots of it because it was the big craze back a few years ago where washi tape sort of came out and everybody was using it. So I've got a collection, but I don't use it that much. So it's good for this kind of thing, though, I find, because it comes in various widths. Okay, that's good. Now, let's put these off to the side and talk about what we're going to do in the interior. Well, we have these two pockets here that don't have anything in them, so I'm going to fix that up. I already pre-selected a couple of little tag pieces, and the idea here is one side has something decorative on it, the other side you could write on, or put a picture on it or something like that. So I'm just going to, and they're the right size, I slip them in there. You could of course make little tags yourself, punch them out, die cut them, or just freehand cut them, whatever you like. But I had these and I thought these would be sort of nice. Make sure it shuts. This one doesn't want to go down. I think I'm just going to take a hair off the edge of this. All the embellishments that I'm going to be sticking on here, I have already gone around with some of the Stays On brown ink. Yep, that's going to work fine there. And then I got thinking, I've got another big tag here. This one already has its tag in the inside, but I've got this big pocket here, and I found this tag, and I'm just picking things that look old for this, so it fits in there quite nicely just as is. And then I was thinking of dressing up these two flaps that are on either side, but also make them functional. So I've got This is one of Tim Holtz's, I don't know what they call them, found relatives or something. I think this was from the photo stack or something it's called. So I was thinking that I could put that right here. Now you might not want to put in pictures of people you don't know, but I don't really care. And I thought I'd stick these on top, but I'm going to only glue it on two sides so it becomes a little tuck-in pocket. So I've already gone around these, as I said, with the stays on ink. So I want to get these people stuck to the side of this. So I'll just pull this off here for a second. A little bit of Gorilla Glue. And then I'm going to just put a little Gorilla Glue along the edge of this guy. I'm not in shot. Show you this here. We go, and a little along the bottom. I've got a little bit of the Gorilla Glue coming off to the edge here, so I'm just take that off with my finger. And I thought I'd do the same thing over on this little flap with these girls, but I'm just going to adhere them at the bottom, just on their feet, so they act like a little clip kind of thing, so you can tuck something else underneath it. Okay, so I've got these stamps here, and I thought they might look good. Maybe one off to the side there. Now what I'm doing, I'm just adding another layer of embellishment to this. Oops, there we go. Maybe this one. I just picked up pieces of ephemera that looked old to fit the background paper that I used on this. And this little stamp. Maybe that would look good on the tag. Again, if you give this to somebody, it'll be up to them what they stick in it. You may not want to embellish it quite as much if you figure they're going to put pictures or journaling in it, that kind of thing. Okay, so I've got these stuck down here. Make sure my glue is not running over. Now I need something to stick underneath them so people will realize that this is for sticking things under. So let me see what I can find. I've got my little box of ephemera here, and let's just see if I can find some kind of neat little card thing. This package from Tim Holtz looks like it has potential. I love Tim Holtz's ephemera pieces because of course he does everything in the vintage style, and I love the vintage style. Okay, oops, things are dropping out. Ooh, okay, I guess that was already open. So let me pick up a few things here. Okay. Yeah, it's already open. So what have I dropped out of here? So here's a little card piece. Give it a little inking just around the edges to get rid of the white edges out of that. Will that tuck under there? Yeah, it's a little tall. Well, let's shave off a little bit. Don't be afraid to cut these pre-made embellishments because they're yours. You can do with them what you like. I think I need to take a little bit more off. There, that fits in there quite nicely. Okay, and I need one for under here. There's this, looks like fun. That would work. Need to re-ink here. I like making these things because this is the part I like the best, is adding embellishments. Sometimes I don't know when to stop, however. But you see, you can make little things that act like clips. They don't all have to be pockets. So there we go. I think I'm done. So, just show you this. Let me move a few things out of the way here. So you can get a better look at this. Okay, why are these things so difficult to pick up? Okay, so here we go. So let's take it from the beginning. Oops. Fold it up correctly. And I won't secure that, but you know, so there we go. There's the, oh, got a little problem. Okay, just me. Okay, so it'll fold up like this. The little buckle will go in, that'll insert up there. Okay, so we have that. And of course, on the back, we have the same thing. You could put more things on the back of this. Maybe I should. I could put a couple of those little Tim Holtz stalls on it. Yeah, I think I will. Just give me a second. Here's the little paper dolls. Those girls would look cute there. And maybe these ones. Okay, let's just get rid of the edges. I think there's enough on my inking tool to do that. It doesn't take much. Okay, grab my Gorilla Glue. See, this is the thing. I don't know when to stop. I just keep doing it. So these little girls can go right there. It just sort of breaks up the back a little bit, makes it a little more interesting. I love Tim Holtz's paper dolls. I use them on everything. If you can get your hands on them. I've been stockpiling them for a while. Okay, that should be good enough. Okay, that just breaks up the monotony of the back a little bit. In fact, should I have something more on the front down here? Maybe. Paper dolls. Or should I go for something else? He has the botanical collection. This collection, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of color on here, but no, that's too big. There's something a little on the smaller side in this set. That gave me a great idea, though. No, I'm not going to do that. I was thinking I could cut that in half, and then when it's closed up, you'd have, you know, you'd see. Or you could layer. I don't know if any of these are going to really work. Of course, I have some of these again. I use them in the inside. That might look okay there. A little big. No, don't think so. Okay, this may not be. No. Okay, that collection doesn't really offer me anything that I want right there. So, let's see. I have more. Okay, this collection. Goes off to the side. And you thought we were done. No way. Now this has got some tickets in it. in there. Do I have another one? A Grand Hotel. Okay, I think I found what I want to put on there. I don't like to think too much about this, because you could spend days looking for the perfect embellishment, and you know, I don't think there is such a thing as the perfect embellishment. Okay, glue. Okay, and then this one. There we go. How's that look? That'll go up between. Yeah, that just adds a little something to it. I am definitely going to stop now. Okay, let's take a look at this. So, when we open it up, now I may have made a mistake there. That's kind of upside down. But no, because you turn this different ways, because these are kind of already upside down. So you have these flaps, you can little thingies that stick underneath them. You've got a tag in a pocket. You got two tags in these. Flip it around this way. Those can come out. You could even put something in the back of this if you wanted to. I've got this. I could embellish that. A little flip out tag, and in here, and you could have a picture or something in here. So that's the folio scrapbook album. Not happy with the way that's sitting in there. There we go. Okay. Those flaps go in, down, that goes across, that goes across. This goes under, this goes in. A little buckle goes in there. This goes under here. And done. Again, I'm still a little concerned about the way that side comes out, but I'm a perfectionist. I think if I just crease it a little bit better. So there we are. That's the iCraft Photo Folio Scrapbook. Hope you enjoyed this video. Next time, I'm going to start another iCraft project. Okay, so that ends that series. Next week, as I said, I will be featuring the 6x6 Essentials album, and I'll be showing you what these look like inside and explaining the process. I'm not going to, this will be a one-off video next week for this, because I don't need to really show you how to construct this in the way that I showed you how to construct the last two projects, because it pretty much is very similar to those, but I will point out those similarities and talk a little bit about it next week. Okay, so events in the past week. If you notice that I'm standing a little different, I'm not sitting. I just got rid of the stool that I usually sit on because it makes my legs go to sleep. You know, it cuts off the circulation, and I've got thinking, why am I sitting on that in the first place? It's much easier now that I have the other microphone, so I'm not tethered to anything. I might as well stand. Probably more information than you needed to know. Okay, events in the past week. Update on my mother, she's fine. Talked a little bit about her yesterday with Mother's Day coming up and what to get her. So I'm not going to bring that discussion to the vlog. It's already there on Stephen and Walter Live. Just want to thank the people yesterday who talked a little bit or gave me some suggestions of things that I could get for my Mother's Day, although I pretty much negated all of them for one reason or another, but I did appreciate the suggestions. Okay. So this weekend I was at a crop. It's the first one that my local scrapbooking store has ever done. I have not been to a crop in years, and it was fun. I have to admit, and I talked a little bit about this yesterday in Stephen Walter Live, so I'm not going to rehash that, but bottom line was I wasn't into it. Well, I didn't get into it until about Sunday. It started Friday night from 5 o'clock until about 11 o'clock Friday night. I stayed till about 10. Saturday it was from 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night, so 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. I left at about 7:30-ish for that because I was tired. But then it resumed at 9 o'clock Sunday morning and went till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was over. It wasn't until about Sunday that I was really starting to get into the groove of the whole thing. Friday night might have been because, it started at 5 o'clock in the evening. That was to accommodate people who work and stuff like that. And I just, at that point, I already had a full day, and so I was a little bit tired. Saturday, again, it took me a little while to get adjusted to how things were going, and I ate something. I don't know what it was that I had, because food doesn't usually bother me, but that's why I left relatively early. I didn't stay right to the end, because I knew I was going to have a bit of a problem. I don't know what it was. I'm fine. But it was a good thing that I had left. Let's just leave it at that. It was a good thing I left when I did. Okay, so it was a lot of fun. The people there are lovely. The group I was sitting with were great. Us art journalers were kind of all together. But I knew a lot of the people that were there too from over the years of teaching classes when I used to work at Class Act as well, things like that. So it was a lot of fun, and she's having another one. When I say she, I mean Carol, the owner of Class Act, the scrapbook store that did all of this. She's having one in October. Not sure if I'll be able to go to that one or not. My heart isn't into these things as it once was. My interests have changed, as you know. But it was good to go. But come the one in the fall, it might conflict with something that's on the horizon with the Ultimate Sewing Store, which is possibly an embroidery weekend, which Walter and I have been asked to help with. Not sure what we're going to do, but we've been asked if we'd be interested in giving a hand with the organizing of that, and we said sure. But at this point in time, we have no idea when it's going to happen. I'm saying that it's probably going to be the fall, because it's going to happen in a resort, and it'll be in the more of the off season. That's when they can get the best price, and also when these kind of places are looking for people to rent them out, because it's off season. So we'll see how that all works. So I couldn't commit to the one that's in the tail end of October yet. But anyways, overall, good weekend. And you saw the little toy that I won, my platinum. Now I want to tell you a little thing about this, okay? Actually, I was a little, not angry or upset really, just a little bothered by it, maybe it's a better word. You see, when I won this, all right, it was a raffle. One ticket for $5, 3 tickets for $10. It was to raise money that Carol is going to give at Thanksgiving time to, the food bank kind of a thing. That's great. We're doing something, giving back to the community and the whole bit. I never win anything. And I figured my odds, I'm one guy in amongst 27 women, okay? So the odds aren't with you on this. Well, when you know it, Carol pulls the ticket and she says, "You're never going to believe this, people. The only man here at the crop won this." And she said, "And what are you going to do with it? I thought you had everything." She's right, I do have everything. But that kind of, not that, it wasn't said in an unkind way or anything like that, but I got the feeling that people kind of thought, why should he get it? He's probably got 3 die cutting machines already. Yeah, I do. 2. Well, if you count the Cricut, 3. Yeah, I do. Okay. But I paid my money just like everybody else, so I had the same chance as anybody else, and I won it. And I mentioned this on Stephen and Walter Live too. Years ago, we used to partake in a certain group we belonged to, and they used to have a 50-50 draw. And the money, 50% of it was going to a charity, and the other 50% you kept. We won it once. It was a substantial amount of money. Oh, well, we're not talking thousands of dollars, but I think it was something like maybe $160 or something like that, $150, something like that. We donated it back because it was going to charity. Well, no thank you, no mention of it. That was it. It was like that was expected that you should do. Other people weren't doing that. They were taking the money and running with their half. That left a bad taste in our mouths, kind of a thing. And so when I won this, my first gumption was to say, I've got die cutting machines, draw another name for somebody else. That was my first reaction. Then what clicked in my brain was this time with the 50-50 draw and the whole bit. I went, no, the heck with it. I want it. It's mine. Now, what I will do is, and I shouldn't feel guilty because I won this, because I've got other machines. I am going to try it out, see what it does, see how it'll work into what I'm hoping it'll work into. And if it doesn't work out that way, then I'm not going to let it sit around and gather dust. I'm just going to take it back down to the store and I'm going to say, okay, I don't need it. So why don't you raffle it off again and make some more money for the charity? That kind of thing. Or I had some people suggest that I could donate it to, a children's place or something. Like I could take it to the elementary school that's close to me. I could take it down to, there's an organization in Oshawa where I live called The Living Room, and they're always looking for crafting supplies. They're a free service out there for people in the community, and a lot of their clientele are people who can't afford a lot of crafting supplies or things like that, and it's great therapy for them. Going there, it helps them out with some issues they might have, so I could donate it there. There are places where I could take this and I can donate it where it'll have a nice home. So I'm going to try it first. I'm going to see if it meets my needs or what I think it meets my need, what I need it for, and if it doesn't, then I'll just give it back. I'll donate it back. So anyways, that was a little rant. Moving on, what's coming up? Mother's Day. There's a special event at the nursing home that we've got tickets for. Walter and I are going. It's a little kind of an entertainment thing with snackies and that. It's right after they have lunch there in the whole bit. So we're going. I said to my mother, do you want to do that? Is it something you're interested in? And she said, well, if you want to come. So yeah, okay. In other words, yeah, she wants to do it. So we're going to do that. They only allow 2 people per a family, person that's in the nursing home, their family, only 2 people because it's a small facility, I guess. I asked my sister if she wanted to go, but the problem for my sister, which I knew in advance, she works in a flower shop, and of course it's Mother's Day weekend, so busy. And she said, yeah, there's no way she could, get out of working that day. So Walter gets the lucky ticket. Lucky him. And so we're going to go to this. I don't know what it's going to be. It's probably going to have some entertainment, some music kind of a thing. It'll run about an hour or something like that. But we will go. And in the meantime, I have to go out and try and find something for Mother's Day. And right now, chocolate's looking good. Okay, so I think that's it for this week. So I hope you have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday at the regular time. I know it's Mother's Day next Sunday, so that might affect some people, but you can always catch it on the replay, and who knows, we might freeze up again. Yay, something to look forward to. Have a good week, have a good weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.